Welcome to the deep dive. If you're gearing up for the Red Hat Certified System Administrator exam, the RHCSA, you probably know there's this one skill. It causes, well, instant panic for a lot of newcomers.
Yeah.
Having to live entirely in the terminal.
Yeah, that's exactly where we are heading today. We're tackling, probably the single most painful, yet completely non-negotiable skill for sysadmins.
Yeah.
Command line, text editor proficiency.
Right.
And our mission isn't just like listing commands. It's about giving you the actual playbook for getting that flawless muscle memory you absolutely need to pass.
Exactly. Because when you're on a server, maybe in production or definitely in that simulated exam setting, you just don't have a GUI. You're constantly editing config files, writing little scripts, changing text files right there. Mm-hmm. And the exam demands you do this fast, accurately, using either, well, the modal editors, V or Vim, or maybe the simpler Modeless one, Nano.
And here's really the core thing for you, the listener.
Mm-hmm.
Success against that clock. It doesn't hinge on knowing like 500 obscure Vim tricks. It depends on knowing maybe the 20 fundamental commands for whichever editor you pick so well that you don't even think it's going to be automatic in your fingers.
Okay, yeah, automation. Let's unpack this then. Maybe start with the two kind of radically different editor philosophies and where they came from. First up, the Vim, the heavy lifter.
Right. The history of VI is actually pretty important because it explains the whole mindset. It was created by Bill Joy way back in '76 at UC Berkeley.
Wow, 76.
Yeah. And the name, V, short for visual, that was a huge deal. Because believe it or not, editors before V were line-oriented. Things like ed and X.
Oh, man, I've heard about those. Like editing a massive config file, but only seeing one line at a time after typing a command just to see it? That sounds awful.
It was awful. Seriously.
Yeah.
V was one of the very first full-screen editors, so you could actually see the context, the whole document. But the trade-off for that power and efficiency back then was its modal design.
Ah, the modes.
Exactly. You're either in command mode, that's where you move around, delete stuff, copy, manipulate text, or you hit a specific key like I or A to enter insert mode, where you actually type your text.
And that duality, that's what often scares people off initially, right? But it's also its strength, you're saying.
It is. It's superpower, really, once you get it. And then it's evolution, Vim, or Vi improved. That came later, 91, I think. It kept that core modal idea, but added so many crucial features.
Yeah, Bram Moolenaar. He wanted V, but better, right?
Exactly. He missed V on his Amiga, actually. So while the exam technically might only require basic V skills, honestly, everyone uses Vim now for the improvements.
What are the big ones?
Oh, syntax highlighting makes reading code or config so much easier. Multi-level undo, which is an absolute lifesaver. Visual mode for selecting text easily. Extensibility. It's really the ultimate tool if you commit to that learning curve.
Okay, so that's the deep end, the Vim path. Definitely a heavy investment. If that sounds intimidating, let's talk about the polar opposite, Nano.
Nano. Yeah, Nano is like the champion of simplicity. It came about in '99, basically as a free open source replacement for an older editor called Pico. Pico was tied to the Pine email client, which most people don't use anymore.
Right, I remember Pine.
So Nano's philosophy is just pure accessibility.
It's completely modless. You open the file, you start typing, text appears. That's it. No weird modes, no accidentally hitting del twice and deleting your entire script because you forgot to hit escape.
Exactly. And its real saving grace, particularly for someone prepping for the RHCSA, is that the commands are all simple control key combinations. And crucially, that whole menu of basic commands, it's listed right there at the bottom of the screen all the time.
So the learning curve is much, much gentler.
Way gentler, very approachable.
Okay, let's pivot then to the exam itself. If you do choose the power path, VA or Vim, what's the strategy? You mentioned modal switching is critical. What's the #1 pitfall there?
Hesitation. Under pressure, people freeze. They forget how to get out of insert mode, or they try typing commands while they're in insert mode, which just types garbage. Right?
You absolutely have to drill this. To get into insert mode, inserts before the cursor, appends after, opens a new line below and puts you in insert mode there. Those are the main ones. And the second you're done typing, your pinky has to instinctively hit that escape key back to command mode. That flow has to be completely fluid.
Okay, mandatory fluidity. Now, you mentioned navigation and the classic HHAKL keys for left, down, up, right. We have arrow keys now, though. Is learning HAK truly necessary for the exam, or is it just like historical baggage?
That's a fantastic question because it gets right to the heart of efficiency. Yes, the arrow keys usually work these days in Vim, but think about it. Using them means moving your hand off the home row of the keyboard.
Oh, well.
In a timed exam, every time you move your hand, that's milliseconds lost. It adds up. Real Vim pros, people who are super fast, they manipulate text almost entirely without moving their hands from that home row. The H, J, K, L keys are fundamental to that speed. So yeah, for exam speed, I'd say drill those. Okay, efficiency argument accepted. What about other navigation? Jumping around big files quickly. What are the must-know shortcuts?
You need, I'd say, 3 main types of jumps. First, moving within the line. 0, that's 0, jumps to the very start of the line, and the dual jumps to the very end.
Got it. 0 and $.
Second, word jumps. W moves forward 1 word at a time. B moves back 1 word. Handy for small adjustments. But the most vital one for the exam for troubleshooting is the absolute line jump.
Okay.
If you get an error saying, problem on line 125 of etc.some config, you cannot afford to scroll down looking for it. You need to instantly type 125G, capital G. That takes you right there.
That directly links the command to fixing a problem. That makes sense. Okay, what about moving text around, deleting, copying, pasting in command mode?
Simple stuff first. X deletes the single character right under your cursor.
Yeah.
Easy. But DD hitting D twice deletes the entire line. That's probably the deletion command you'll use most often for cleaning up configs.
DD, got it. And copying, pasting.
We call it yanking and putting in Vim terms. Yay twice yanks or copies the current line into a buffer. Then you move your cursor where you want it and hit P to put or paste that line after the cursor.
YIMP.
Those are the basics for moving lines around.
All right, let's wrap up the VivVim checklist with those commands that start with a colon, the exits commands, right? These feel like the control panel.
They really are, like life support and emergency brakes, as you said.
Right.
For searching, you type then your search term, hit enter. Vim jumps to the first match. Then you can keep hitting N for the next match. N, N, N. Super common.
Okay, and N. And saving and quitting. This feels crucial under pressure.
Absolutely crucial, and you need to be confident. :wq writes or saves the file. :q quits. Simple enough. :w does both. Saves and quits. That's your standard exit.
But the escape hatch, what if I messed up?
That's :q quit, followed by an exclamation mark. That means force quit, discard all the changes I made since the last save. You absolutely must practice using this without fear when you know you've made a mess. Don't save a broken config. Nano's strength is simplicity, but that means you rely heavily on those control key combos. They can't be slow. They have to be instant. So what are the absolute must-be flawless operations?
Saving and exiting, I assume?
Bingo. Saving the file is Control+O. It stands for write out, which makes sense. You hit that, confirm the file name, done. And exiting is Control+X.
And I like that Control+X is, well, safe. If you've changed the file, it asks save modified buffer, so you don't accidentally lose work.
Yeah, that's a nice feature. Now, navigation in Nano is mostly intuitive, right? Arrow keys, home, end keys, they just work as you'd expect. But just like Vim needs that G-jump command for speed, Nano needs quick ways to do common sysadmin tasks, searching and moving blocks of text.
Okay, so searching in Nano, it's not Control+F.
No, not like in a browser or word processor. It's Control+W, which stands for where is. You hit Control+W, type your search term, hit enter.
Control+W. Okay. And manipulation, moving lines around like in a firewall config.
Right. For that, you use Control+K to cut the entire current line. It disappears and goes into Nano's cut buffer. Then you move your cursor and use Control+U to uncut or paste the text.
Control+K cuts, Control+U pastes.
And a neat trick. If you hit Control+K 3 times in a row, it cuts those 3 lines together. Then when you hit Control+U, it pastes all 3 as a single block. Very useful for reordering things.
That is useful. Okay. And the Nano equivalent for jumping to a specific line number for troubleshooting. You mentioned 125G in Vim.
Yeah, Nano has one too, and it's crucial for exam speed. It's Control+KEC. That's Control plus the underscore character. You hit that, and Nano prompts you at the bottom. Enter line number. You type the number, hit enter, and boom, you're there.
Control+Airs. Got it. Another must-know for speed. Okay, checklists are done. We know what commands are needed, but now we have to translate that into speed and confidence, right? The exam is timed. So let's talk specific practice drills. How do we build that muscle memory?
Okay, for VVim users, .1 priority. Drill modal switching. Nonstop. Open any file. Use append 1 character, hit escape, move down 1 line with J, then .wq to save and quit. Repeat that exact sequence over and over until there's zero pause between any of those actions.
Just pure reflex. Okay, next drill.
Practice those big jumps. Open a genuinely large file, like at Set of Services, it's got hundreds of lines. Practice jumping immediately to, say, line 50. Type 50G, then jump to the end with just G, then back to the top with V or 1G. Get used to moving across the whole file instantly.
And searching practice.
Yeah. In that same etc. services file, search for something common like HTTP. Type HTTP, hit enter. Found the first one. Now, without looking down, just hit N to jump to the next 3 occurrences. Train your fingers.
Okay. What about bulk actions, deleting or changing multiple lines?
Good one. Practice typing 10PD. 10 lines disappear instantly. Then immediately hit U for undo. Bring them right back. This builds speed, but also the confidence that you can quickly revert a mistake.
Nice. Any advanced tips for Vim that are like major time savers on the exam?
Yes. The global search and replace. Huge time saver. Let's say you need to change every single instance of the word staging to production throughout a config file. You don't search and replace manually. You use one X command, present % staging production.
Whoa, okay, break that down.
Colon starts the command. Present means apply to the whole file. S means substitute. Then staging is what you're looking for. Production is what you're replacing it with. And the final G means globally on each line, replace all occurrences, not just the first one. Absolutely. Saves minutes. And finally, the vvim safety drill. Deliberately make some changes you don't want. Delete a few lines with DD, type some don't. Then calmly and confidently use .q to discard everything and exit cleanly. You must eliminate any fear of that command.
Okay, solid vvim practice plan. Now for Nano users, the focus is speed with those control keys, right?
Pure speed. You should be able to hit Control+O, enter Control+X without a single thought. That menu at the bottom. It's a safety net, but your eyes should stay on the text you're editing. Fingers doing the work automatically.
So, practice scenarios for Nano.
Reorganizing configs is a good one. Practice cutting blocks. Hit Control+K 3 times quickly. Cursor down maybe 10 lines. Hit Control+U to paste those 3 lines. Get fluid with moving configuration stances around.
Yeah, sense, yeah.
And drill that troubleshooting jump. Open a test config file. Practice hitting Control+8, typing 88, hitting enter. You're instantly at line 88. Make a tiny change, then immediately hit Control+O, enter to save. It's about the speed of that whole sequence. Jump, edit, save.
Jump, edit, save. Got it. And the Nano safety drill.
Some more idea to Vims. Make some edits you don't want to keep. Maybe add a few lines, type some garbage. Then press Control+X to exit. When it asks save modified buffer, right, confidently hit N for no. Practice backing out cleanly without saving unwanted changes.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it sounds like the bottom line is you just have to be proficient in a command line editor for the RHCSA. There's no way around it.
None at all. You've got to be able to edit those files accurately and crucially under that time pressure. The end result, fast, correct editing, is mandatory. Which tool you use to get there? Well, that's secondary.
Right. So the choice between, the steep initial curve but maybe higher speed ceiling of vvim versus the easier start but maybe slightly less efficient ceiling of Nano, that's a personal preference.
It really is. Vim rewards that upfront investment with incredible speed later. Nano lets you get productive much faster. Both are perfectly valid paths for the exam, but the method for success is identical for both.
Which is?
Repetition. Constant use, turning conscious thought into unconscious action. Muscle memory.
Because that exam room is definitely not the place you want to be fumbling trying to remember basic commands. You need it locked in.
Totally locked in. Instantaneous.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. You need perfect muscle memory by exam day.
Right. So ask yourself, which set of commands, the modal ones for vvim or the Modeless control keys for Nano, which set are you willing to basically force yourself to use for every single command line edit you do between now and your exam? Which one are you going to drill until it's completely automatic? Choose that path, commit to it, and start practicing today.